As Goodwill Bins resellers, the most common thing I get asked is how do you actually make money spending all day digging through literal trash? Well, in today's video, my goal is to change your perception of the Goodwill outlet and share our experiences being six-figure resellers from the bins, turning trash into cash. Hi, everyone. My name is Bethany, and I, along with my husband Sean, run Trash Pandas Thrift. We are a six-figure reselling business, and here on this channel, we share with you all of our tips, tricks, and experiences, also that you can start and grow your very own reselling business too. Today, I'm going to get you a look into what we source, Sean and I, as six-figure resellers digging at the Goodwill outlet. This is going to be not exactly all encompassing because honestly, we sell in a lot of categories, but these are going to be the biggest ones where you have the best opportunity to turn trash into cash, turn coal into gold. Let's dive right in. The first category that we source is all based on style. Now, style-based sourcing is our love here at Trash Pandas Thrift, so it comes at no surprise that style is at number one. If you've never heard of style-based sourcing, we have a whole video introducing it and a strategy you can use in order to get started. It is called How to Resell Clothes That Don't Have a High Sell-Through Rate. It was from about 3 months ago on this channel. We also heavily focus on it in our mentorship group, Resellers Edge University. Style-based sourcing is a ton of different things in one. Sourcing based on style means I'm digging up items that embody trending style aesthetic keywords. Some examples of that, you can think of words like cottagecore, for example. That's a good style aesthetic example. So, if I'm searching and I'm digging based on style base, that means I can dig up a lot of stuff. Specifically, what I'm looking for are substantial items. What does that mean? Quite a couple things. So, the first thing that I am looking for is uniqueness. We talk a lot on this channel, unique selves. I am constantly looking for unique items. Last week and this week, I found a beautiful granny square crochet duster cardigan. Now, this is two things in one. Granny square crochet is such a huge trend, and it's a duster cardigan, meaning it was a substantial piece at longer length. So I kept this one, but it is an example of a super substantial style-based item, and it's a style-based bolo. Not all style-based items are run-of-the-mill bread and butter, $20, $30 sales. This one had comps of $100. I kept this one, and this week Sean actually found another granny square crochet duster cardigan. I don't know if I can keep two in 1 month. That's pretty outlandish for me. Usually I don't keep anything. And this is the same idea. These are style bolos. However, there are bread and butter style-based items as well. In order to get your finger on the pulse of that, I'm looking for quite a few things. So I'm looking for really great materials. Great materials indicate high quality, and they're actually a really great gateway into style-based sourcing because some style aesthetics rely on certain materials over others. Certain grunge, very dark feminine style aesthetics will prefer more grunge fabrics, materials like velvet. That is everything that is going on in my mind when I'm digging at the bins. And because it's such a tactile sport, this is where material really comes in handy when you're digging at the bins and wanting to include style-based sourcing. The third thing that I look for when I'm digging for style-based items is features that give an item more value rather than just the brand tag. Because there's so many things that can give an item value, not just the brand tag. And I am so out there on this channel where I always say my favorite thing about reselling is yes, it's fun to find great brands, and we'll talk more about that too. But when you can look at an item and give it value, you're placing value on an item that other people are just leaving behind as trash, and you can see it as gold. There is nothing quite like that feeling as a reseller. I am addicted to digging there because the amount of gold that you can find that other people just don't see. And you can see it too by looking for those features. What I mean by features, we've done actually a couple of videos on this as well. There are features of an item that stand out, that lend itself to certain style aesthetics. We actually just did a video that was 3 trending features that I look for in an item that talked all about this. And one of them, not even coincidentally, was crochet. There are certain types of materials, features, types of sleeves that lend itself to style aesthetics. And the only way that you can understand that is by always keeping in mind trending styles and style aesthetics. That means staying in the know. Staying in the know when it comes to researching trends, researching style aesthetics, researching keywords, watching videos like the videos we make on different keywords, watching other reseller videos on keywords, not just reseller, fashion related too. Some of my best inspo is actually other retail brands, like following their brand, seeing what new and trending styles are coming out from popular brands like Free People, for example, or just reading and watching fashion blogs. What's trending this fall? What type of sleeve is that? What type of sleeve do people want going into fall and winter for their dressy velvet dresses, right? That all goes into it. In my brain, it kind of all just is sloshing around as I'm digging. And as you get more familiar with certain features that sell great, especially what sells best for you, it gets so much easier to source based on style at the Goodwill outlet. And it is so much fun. It is my favorite part of digging. So I can keep doing an entire video just me talking about style-based sourcing at the Goodwill outlet. If you guys are interested in that, maybe I can do a whole video just dedicated to style-based sourcing at the Goodwill outlet. If you guys want that, you can let me know in the comments. But we have so much more to get through today because there are so many more categories that you can sell from the Goodwill bins. And the next one are brands. By brands, I mean low end, mid tier, designer, mall brands, the entire gambit. So, aside from selling style based pieces like most other resellers, we rely highly on branded pieces. Bread and butter, high sell through rate, high retail, mall brands. I'm going to talk a bit about how we sell those in a bit here as well. So, of course, great brands with great comps are ideal. And that is just not always what you find at the Goodwill outlet, especially when you have tons of competition at the bins looking for the same thing. So, more often than not, I'm finding some high retail brands, or I'm finding some great brands with great styles that may not comp well, but that I know with great keywords and marketing will sell. This is the same marketing that goes into style based sourcing. So, yes, 100%. You definitely want as well those higher sell-through rate and average sales price pieces, but there's also an element of marketing and understanding style in items as well. We're never just sourcing for brands at the Goodwill outlet. It elevates value. It is a feature that can elevate the value of a brand, of an item. However, if you look at the item in its totality, that is an even better way to kind of scope out more value in your item. So, as far as those higher sell through rate and average sales price pieces go, the more you know, the more you'll find. You will and you can find high sell through rate items at the bins. You can and you will find high average sales price items at the Goodwill outlet. It happens. You're gonna find it. And the best way to do this, honestly, it is vital. In order to do that, you need to have brand knowledge. You need it. It is absolutely vital. And I'm saying that as someone who loves style based sourcing, right? So there's a good reason for that. There are 2 reasons why you can't find enough great brands at your Goodwill outlet. Number one, you got a lot of people looking for the same thing, and it's honestly probably in lesser quantity than style based items that you can find. And number two, you need to have more knowledge. You need to know the niched brands that other people don't know about. You need to know the brands that Goodwill doesn't charge higher prices on at the retail store. You need to know everything when it comes to competition, when it comes to understanding that you are your own competition. you can control exactly the types of items you can find when you do the work outside of sourcing. Because the most important thing that goes into sourcing is the work that you're doing to prepare yourself before you even go. Because you're not going to recognize great brands if you can't look at a tag and know that it is valuable. Even if you've never seen the brand before, if you can look at a tag and recognize points of value, if the tag is stitched on, for example, I know that's probably, oh, I should look that up. And the best way is by constantly researching high value brands. It is so important to understand both. Even as a style based lover, I truly think the strongest resellers and the strongest Goodwill outlet shoppers have their hands in both. And that is a formidable strategy going into the Goodwill outlet. It's the reason we're able to dig up so much because your brain can work in both ways at once. The best way to go about this is truly blending both, having those great brands, great styles. That's so much better than a great style piece, but not a great brand, or a great branded piece, but not a great style. It is the best when you can combine them. All right. And number three, oh, I want to make a whole video about number three too. This is going to be some of my favorite money makers. Number three is other categories people just don't pick up. So the first one, the first category that I love digging that everyone just leaves behind, linens. I love selling linens. So I'm thinking bed sheets, pillowcases, especially something I've been finding a lot more of recently and like shocked at the retail and resale value are wall tapestries. Like Google Pinterest wall tapestry, and they have the string lights and like the mood lamp. Those wall tapestries could be upwards of $100 if people were to go shopping for them at a retail store. And when I find them crumpled up in a bin and everyone just is throwing them across, throwing them at me, I'm taking them. I am bundling them up. If they have some beautiful fringe or a really cool celestial pattern, that's even better. Which is actually going to lend me into my next point, the next category that people don't pick up that you can make money in, home goods. Just like that tapestry. When it comes to home goods, especially from stores like Anthropologie, for example, I love finding tapestries from them or Urban Outfitters. Restoration hardware is another great one across categories as well. Now, I am mostly a clothing bin kind of sourcer. However, when it comes to home goods, especially when they're textile or kind of linen adjacent, those are a really great pickup because anything that feels like a blanket at the Goodwill outlet, if you guys have been to the Goodwill outlet, you can tell me that from your experience, people just throw it. They toss them. If it looks like a blanket, if it feels like a blanket, they toss it. And you should be looking at those blankets for two reasons. Number one, sometimes it's not a blanket. Sometimes it's a beautiful quilt coat or a beautiful crochet duster cardigan. Sean picked up that crochet cardigan last week and it looked like a blanket. And then that blanket, when he held it up, it had sleeves. It was the best thing ever. And number two, it could actually be a really valuable blanket as well. And most Goodwill outlets, if you go to them and you say, some of them actually have different pricing for textiles for linens. My Goodwill outlet has a different pricing structure. So even if something is like 10 pounds, I only have to pay $2 for it. Yours might have a similar deal or a similar pricing structure as well. And it never hurts to ask, especially when everyone is leaving them behind. Love linens, love home goods. All right, I've got two other categories that we're going to dive into that other people just don't pick up that you can make a ton of money in. And I know all of this from experience. I'm always shocked. I always say, sometimes I even come up to my friends, right? Because everyone else digging at the Goodwill outlet, my competitors, they're my friends. I see them every day. They're my tribe. They're my Goodwill Bins tribe. And I say to them, why don't you want to sell this? Everything can sell. I firmly believe that everything can sell if you have the right marketing strategy for it, or if you can see it as gold, not trash, whether it's a blanket or a style based item, or in this case, kids' clothing. Kids clothing, I absolutely love as a category to source at the Goodwill outlet because it's such a no-brainer. They're so light. You are paying probably the least per piece out of all of the pieces you're taking home because of course you're paying per pound usually at the Goodwill outlet, and these are the lightest pieces. So just right there, you have a super low cost of goods. And you don't have to just sell these like the rest of the items we're talking about today. Yes, those sell great on eBay, on Poshmark, on Depop. Kids Clothes offers a whole other gateway to a different mode of reselling, a different type of reselling that Sean and I discovered and that absolutely exploded our business. Making extra money like we do, bulk wholesale, or honestly, the way we started doing that is through just selling to buy sell trade stores. So when it comes to kids' clothes, selling to kids buy sell trade stores, such as Once Upon a Time, is such a great way to just recoup all of the money you just made from your Goodwill bin haul. All of the rest of those items are now profit. Once you make that profit back on the kids' clothes, that basically covers your entire haul. Not to mention, I am not counting out kids' clothes on eBay and on Poshmark and on all the traditional marketplaces. There is some super expensive kids' clothes out there, retail, modern brands, as well as vintage. So expensive. And there definitely is a market for these items. But if you're not looking for it, you won't pick it up. You won't search it. It requires an initial light bulb that goes on top of your head like, wait a minute, this might look like nothing, but what if it's something? What if I can make it something? And if you don't want to list it, again, doing buy sell trade stores like Once Upon a Time and even bulk wholesale on a smaller scale like we do can make a ton of money for you extra month. And it's not that hard to get started at all. We've already talked about this in a different YouTube video where we named it how we created a new niche in reselling, Wholesale 101. I just started messaging stores on my Instagram, not even a professional Instagram. I didn't even have Trash Panda's Thrift Instagram yet. My personal Instagram. I messaged stores. I said, hey, I'm in the area or I can ship to you. I get a large amount of the same stock you already have. I'm pretty sure that I can sell it to you at the same price that you often already buy it at or less. And yeah, a lot of people are going to say no. A lot of stores might not even open your message, but it just takes one. It just takes a little bit of creativity sometimes, and you could look at the Goodwill outlet and so much more items are potential money for you. And then you just have a money printing machine. And if you're looking at me, you're like, okay, I don't know about the kids' clothing. There's even another category that you can tap into as well related to buy sell trade stores, and that is adult clothing. So, adult clothing to sell to buy sell trade stores or wholesale like we do. These clothes could be from trendy brands like PacSun, or they could be more mature brands. So, you can sell to a place like Plato's Closet. Those are kind of designated to a younger audience or a more mature buy sell trade store, such as Clothes Mentor. So this is like two categories in one. We personally really love to sell trendy younger adult clothing and we wholesale these in bulk. So honestly, in the same way with the kids' clothing, a lot of these are left behind at the bins. And I pick them up and I see every time I look at one of these pieces, I'm seeing $3, $4, $5, $3, $4. It adds up and it adds up and it adds up and it makes us extra money that really adds up at the end of the month. Because for our reselling business, we've talked about before, it's a beautiful monster. In all of these categories that makes us money, I'm not fighting anyone for them. No one else wants these items at the bins. They're just left in a bin for me, and I'm slowly picking them up. I'm there already. I'm there. I'm finding great brands. I'm finding great high sell-through rate items. I'm finding great style-based pieces. And then I'm also padding it with items that I'm selling, yes, at a lower price point, but I'm there already. And I'm making extra profit in an area where no one else sees any gold. That is one of my favorite parts about reselling because I love reselling due to sustainability reasons. And I love being able to rescue these clothes because if you don't pick them up and the bins are going back, most likely these clothes are probably getting dumped in landfills. They might even be burned, right? Like in some Goodwill outlet locations, they are just burned on the spot or they're getting shipped out. overseas. This is number one. If you're like me and that does make a difference to you, I feel amazing knowing that I'm helping to help with that. And number two, if you're just doing this for the money, and I get that, and there's no shame in that. Sean is the same way. We talk about it honestly here. You're basically throwing money away by not doing this. Sean and I looked at each other, and when we realized how much extra money we're making by picking up stuff that no one else was at all, we were shocked. Like, absolutely shocked. People would look at us like, how in the world are you selling that? And I said, there's a store that buys it right off of me, sight unseen. I just send them the pieces and they pay me out every single week. And that already covered my entire haul and then some. There are so many ways to make money as a reseller, and there are so many ways to make money as a reseller from the Goodwill outlet. It's insane. The opportunity is insane. It's so insane that I share all of this info because that is how much stuff there's out there. There is so much abundance in all of these categories that if every single person who watched this video took my advice, and that's not going to happen, right? There would still be enough clothing in these categories for everyone to go around. That's how much there is. There is so much opportunity out there. There are not too many people at the Goodwill outlet doing this. You can absolutely make money in so many different ways as a reseller at the bins. These are just 3 categories with some extra little mini categories of honestly even more categories that we sell. You can absolutely do this, even if you're not finding great brands at the Goodwill outlet, because you don't just need great brands alone. There are different ways to resell and make money when you have so much clothing at your disposal to look at, to see trash and turn it into cash. All right, everyone. That was my Goodwill outlet turning trash into cash video for you guys. Again, if you like this kind of content, let me know. If there's a certain type of category you want me to talk a little bit more about, let me know about that too. I can also make another video about a specific category. Often there's so much information that I don't want to give you guys so much information in one video for every single category. So let me know which one really interests you that we can dive a little bit deeper on together. Thanks so much, you guys. If you like this kind of video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more kinds of content like this one, and thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you in the next one. Happy digging!